Welcome back to my channel, Famous and Fabulous. Audie Murphy really hated him more than anyone else. Audie Murphy was born on June 20th, 1925, in a small town called Kingston in Hunt County, Texas. His parents were EMTT Barry Murphy and Josie Belle Killian. They were poor farmers trying to take care of a big family during the hard times between World War I and the Great Depression. Audie was the seventh kid out of 12 children. His childhood was tough because they didn't have much money and life was hard. His family lived a very hard life in the Texas countryside. They often didn't have enough food or things they needed. But from his Irish family background, he got toughness and strength that would help him later when he was a soldier. His first and middle names, Audie Leon, had special meaning. He was named after two men who were kind to his mother when she was having a hard time. These men helped her when her husband left her alone for long times. His father Emmett was not dependable and was gone a lot. He would come and go from the house before he finally left the family for good. This meant Josie Belle had to raise all her kids, mostly by herself. Audie and his brothers and sisters had to do grown-up jobs, even though they were just kids. This broken family life made young Audie grow up fast and become very strong-willed to survive. Even though things were bad at home, Murphy went to elementary school while growing up around the towns of Farmersville, Greenville, and Celeste, all in northeast Texas. But he couldn't stay in school for long. When he got to 5th grade, he had to quit because the family really needed money. Audie, even though he was just a boy, had to work to help his family. He got a job picking cotton, working long hours in the hot Texas fields for very little money. These years taught him to work very hard and also made him understand how hard life was for regular Americans during the Depression time. In 1941, something very sad happened when his mother died. This made the already broken family fall apart even more. Her death really hurt Murphy, who loved her very much. With no stable home to keep them together, Audie's younger brothers and sisters had to go live in children's homes and orphanages. This split the family apart. To survive, Audie worked different jobs in the town of Greenville, doing everything, from farm work to office work, to make enough money to live. It was during these uncertain years that he started dreaming of a way out, a chance not only to help his brothers and sisters, but also to prove he was more than just a poor farm boy. When World War II was getting bigger, and the United States was getting ready to join the fight, Murphy saw a chance in the military. Even though he was still very young, he really wanted to join the army to help his family and serve his country. At first, the military said no, because he was too small and looked too young. He was barely over 5 feet 5 inches tall and weighed less than 120 pounds. But he kept trying and didn't give up. On June 30th, 1942, he was finally accepted into the US Army. This started one of the most amazing military careers in American history. By 1943, after basic training and learning how to be an infantry soldier, Murphy was assigned to Company B, 1st Battalion, 15th Infantry Regiment, 3rd Infantry Division. His first job overseas took him to French Morocco in North Africa, where he learned how tough war really was. The heat, sickness, and harsh land were as much of an enemy as the Axis forces. But Murphy quickly became known as a soldier who was serious, well-behaved, and brave when facing danger. In July 1943, showing he was a good leader and skilled under pressure, Murphy was promoted to corporal as his division got ready for the important Allied invasion of Sicily. This battle was very important for weakening Axis control in the Mediterranean Sea area. By August 1943, the 7th Infantry Regiment captured and secured the important port of Messina, which meant the campaign was successful. Murphy's bravery during these fights earned him more recognition, and before the year was over, he was promoted again, this time to sergeant. The next year, in August 1944, Murphy showed how great he was during Operation Dragoon, when the Allies invaded southern France. Here, his courage and smart fighting became even more clear. He fought the Nazis with never-ending determination, often risking his life way more than he had to. His actions earned him a promotion to 2nd lieutenant. He and his unit, the 1st Battalion 15th Infantry Regiment, were both honored with the Presidential Unit Citation, one of the highest awards for military groups. In September 1944, during the Allied push into northeastern France, the 3rd Infantry Division faced very tough German fighting back. Murphy's brave actions under fire stood out. Again and again he put himself in danger from enemy fire to lead his men, save wounded friends, or fight back against attacks. His bravery was noticed as he started collecting a long list of medals and awards, each one showing how brave he was. By 1945, he had made his reputation solid during the battle for the Colmar Pocket, one of the most important fights in France. Leading one of the most important counterattacks of the campaign, he showed amazing heroism, personally directing fire and leading his men against overwhelming odds. His bravery once again earned him a promotion, this time to first lieutenant, and he was made a liaison officer called back from the front lines to headquarters. Even though this was safer than combat, this job showed how much his bosses respected him. After the war, Murphy's military career continued in different ways. In 1950, he became a captain in the 36th Infantry Division of the Texas National Guard. But his life was about to change in a surprising way. That same year, Hollywood came to find him. Already famous as a war hero, Murphy started acting in war movies, where his real experiences made the movies seem more real. The best part of his movie career came with To Hell and Back in 1955, a movie based on his own book with the same title. Playing himself, Murphy gave audiences a look into what real combat was like, as only he could show it. The movie became one of Universal Pictures' most successful movies of the decade. Meanwhile, his military duties continued. In 1956, he was promoted to the rank of Major in the U.S. Army Reserve, which showed people still respected his continued service even as his Hollywood career grew. 10 years later, he left the Texas National Guard, though he stayed active in military groups and kept helping veterans. Finally, in May 1969, after almost 30 years of active and reserve duty combined, Murphy officially retired from the U.S. Army. By then, he had left behind a legacy that most people couldn't match. He was the most decorated American soldier of World War II, a man whose medals and honors included the Medal of Honor, the Distinguished Service Cross, 2 Silver Stars, the Bronze Star, the Purple Heart, and many more. In 1949, when he was very famous as both a decorated war hero and a rising Hollywood actor, Audie Murphy married actress Wanda Hendress for the first time. Wanda was a talented young actress in the movie industry, and their marriage got a lot of attention from the public and the media, who saw it as a glamorous match between a famous war veteran and a promising actress. However, even though people were excited about their relationship, the marriage had problems almost from the beginning. Murphy carried with him the lasting effects of his war experiences, including the mental scars of battle and what would later be known as post-traumatic stress disorder. This, combined with the pressure of his growing Hollywood career and the demands of public life, made it hard for him to find stability at home. The couple's relationship became strained, and within just 2 years, their marriage ended in divorce. The separation was painful, but it showed the personal struggles Murphy faced as he tried to balance fame, personal happiness, and the shadows of his military past. Later that same year, Murphy found love again, this time with Pamela Archer, a woman who wasn't part of Hollywood's bright lights and constant watching. Pamela worked as an airline stewardess, and unlike his first marriage to a fellow entertainer, this relationship gave Murphy a sense of normal life and stability that he really needed. Pamela's steady and caring personality proved to be a stabilizing force in his life, and she stood by him through both the good times and challenges of his career. Their marriage was a turning point for Murphy, giving him a chance to focus on building a family and enjoying some peace away from the public eye. Together, Audie and Pamela had 2 sons, and being a father became one of the most meaningful parts of Murphy's life. Their first child, Terrence Michael Terry Murphy, made him very proud, and their second son, James Shannon Skipper Murphy, completed the family. Even though he had a demanding work schedule in Hollywood and the inner problems he still had from the war, Murphy tried hard to be present in his children's lives. He found joy in spending time with them, giving them guidance and teaching them lessons, shaped by both hardship and strength. To Murphy, his sons represented hope, continuity, and a reason to keep going through the difficulties he faced. Audie Murphy, the most decorated American soldier of World War II and later a Hollywood actor, was known for his honesty, being direct, and refusing to say nice things about people he didn't respect. While Murphy worked with many actors in Hollywood, some of whom he liked, there was one man in the industry whom he said he disliked more than anyone else, legendary actor James Cagney. His opinion about Cagney was unusually harsh, especially since Murphy was often diplomatic when talking about his co-workers. But in private conversations, Murphy reportedly made his feelings very clear. Murphy's dislike came from what he saw as arrogance and talking down to people. According to those who knew him, Murphy believed that Cagney, despite his huge fame, looked down on people who hadn't come from the same acting background or circle in Hollywood. Murphy had always been treated as something of an outsider. He wasn't trained in acting schools, didn't grow up in the theater, and had no formal education in the arts. He came from poverty in rural Texas, became famous through his war heroics, and found his way into the movie industry mainly because of his war record rather than a love for acting. Murphy once said, "Cagney acted like the rest of us didn't belong in the same business. He never thought much of soldiers who became actors. To him, we were amateurs playing at something he owned." The clash between Murphy and Cagney was also about their different backgrounds. Cagney was born in New York City, raised in the rough neighborhoods where he learned toughness early, and he carried that street smart, fast-talking personality into his movie roles. Murphy, by contrast, was a quiet, humble Texan who liked honesty over showing off. While audiences loved Cagney's explosive energy and cocky swagger on screen, Murphy saw it differently. "I never could stand that mugging he did," Murphy once said of Cagney's acting style. "He played the same tough guy in every picture. To me, it was just fake. Maybe the public bought it, but I didn't." What truly seemed to turn Murphy against Cagney, however, was the man's attitude toward the war and toward veterans. Cagney had not served in the military during World War II, something that Murphy never openly criticized in public, but he quietly judged men who had avoided service while others fought. Cagney faced rumors during the 1940s about alleged ties to communist sympathies and questions about his patriotism, though he was eventually cleared by the House Un-American Activities Committee. Murphy, a man who had risked his life countless times on the battlefield, had little patience for those who, in his eyes, questioned America's values or failed to back up their country during its darkest hour. "I didn't care how famous he was," Murphy said. "All I knew was he wasn't there when it mattered. I buried too many friends to pretend that didn't matter to me." The tension wasn't just about beliefs, it was also about work. Murphy once revealed that he found Cagney dismissive when they crossed paths in Hollywood's social circles. According to Murphy, Cagney treated him like a novelty, a war hero trying to act rather than a real performer. "He called me soldier boy more than once, and not in a friendly way," Murphy remembered. "I didn't mind being called a soldier, that's what I was. But he said it like it was an insult. That told me everything I needed to know about him." For Murphy, respect was everything. He liked actors who treated others with dignity, no matter their background. Stars like James Stewart himself, a decorated Air Force pilot, earned Murphy's respect because they combined talent with humility. But with Cagney, Murphy felt there was only ego. "He was always acting, even off the screen," Murphy once commented. "You never knew who the real man was. Maybe there wasn't one." Over time, Murphy's dislike of Cagney hardened into complete disdain. Even when others in Hollywood praised Cagney as one of the greatest actors of his generation, Murphy refused to join in. In interviews, when asked about Cagney, Murphy would either change the subject or give only short answers. In private, he was more direct. "I hated him more than anyone in Hollywood," Murphy once told a friend. "It wasn't jealousy. I never wanted to be like him. I just couldn't stand what he stood for. To me, he was everything false about the business." This hatred was unusual for Murphy, who rarely let personal feelings affect his public life. Most of the time, he avoided Hollywood fights, preferring to keep his circle small and loyal. But with James Cagney, he made an exception. Whether it was resentment over Cagney's dismissive attitude, his avoidance of military service, or his style of self-promotion, Audie Murphy simply couldn't forgive him. For the rest of his life, whenever the subject of James Cagney came up, Murphy never softened his stance. While audiences and critics continued to praise Cagney as one of the greats, Murphy carried with him a deep personal bitterness that never faded. His words summed it up plainly. Some people in Hollywood I respected, some I didn't care much about. But Cagney, I truly hated him more than anyone. On 28 May 1971, Murphy was killed when the private plane in which he was a passenger crashed into the side of a mountain 14 nautical miles northwest of Roanoke, Virginia, in conditions of rain, clouds, fog, and zero visibility. The pilot and 4 other passengers were also killed.